Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Morning Encouragement. Guess who's back?
I am.
There you go.
With the fro,
She's
too.
back. She with the fro? Is that what you said?
Yeah, because last time I had straight hair.
Oh, okay. You switching it up.
Yeah.
Switching it up a
Switching
little
it
bit.
up.
All right, cool. So we're back. We are live. We're sharing things on Facebook and all the goodies. But you're back. You took a little week off. We gave you a little rest.
Yes.
Right?
I
Did you
needed
recoup?
it. I did recoup.
You look like you recouped a
Do
little bit.
I look rejuvenated?
Yeah, you do. You got a little,
My
little
skin
shine.
is popping out.
You know, you look way better than I do
Did I
on
not
camera.
before? Was I tired looking?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
I just kidding.
Like, look at you. This isn't fair. This really isn't fair.
Why?
So, huh?
Why?
You get like a glow. I am like the ghost.
No.
I'm a little ghosty.
I mean, you're going to look ghosty next to me.
I am. Yeah, I do not have melatonin. What is it?
So melanin.
Melanin. Yeah, not melatonin. But
Melatonin.
hey, we are representing Lance today. I brought him on camera with us in the form of his Vente
favorite daily coffee.
Daily coffee, vanilla sweet cream cold brew. So here you are, Lance. Cheers to you. We know you're driving, so be careful.
Yes. I never really mentioned it because, you know, that's kind of weird to put it out there in cyber world. But, like, my husband's been gone for 3 months. Back and forth. But, like, I've been holding down the fort while he's gone. And so, finally, he comes back today. So, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's been a ride.
It's been a ride. That's for sure.
I went to Starbucks today because I don't go to Starbucks that often anymore.
Yeah, that's really not
I had stopped going because I made a pact with you that I wasn't going to go that much anymore because I got a coffee machine.
Right.
And so I haven't been in a while, but today because of the show, I got one.
I like it.
And I went there and they're like, "Hey, I recognized your voice from the thing. Mm-hmm. Where's Lance?"
Nuh-uh.
I'm telling you right now, this is what happened. Where's Lance? And I was like, well,
they know him there.
He's been in Florida for a bit, and so they know him very well, and it's funny to see, how relationships are formed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I see what you did there.
You like that?
I like that.
And like how people people notice you, right?
Right.
You notice people,
right?
But how like the friendships are formed like from the people at Starbucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you recognize their voices, they know who you are, and you have that thing
by being consistent.
Right. Like I used to go there that I didn't have to. I'd pull up and then be like, "You want the same thing?"
No.
Yes. And then I'd just go to the window.
They don't do that for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same thing. It was a sweet cream cold brew and a cheese Danish, but.
That's
so
cool.
We've switched up the game.
Yes.
So we don't go there like literally. I think I've been there 3 times in 6 months now.
Wow, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
I wish I could say the same, but.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna talk about relationships today.
Yes, I'm excited.
This should be fun
to dive right in.
Yeah. So
Who doesn't like to talk about friends and relationships?
Right.
And, hey, Christina.
How many of us have them? Do you remember that? You don't remember that song? That's like way before your time.
Is it from the show Friends?
No, it's
not.
Watched, it's from like a 1980s rap group.
Oh man, what's the name?
The name of the song is Friends. It's
what's people's?
I can't remember.
I may not know.
It's that old. It's that old.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, but I'm not going to remember. So let's talk through this because we kind of came up with this idea of like how we've been friends since you were 8.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. 20-something years with my family.
8 years old. You were like this little
peanut.
You were a little peanut.
Little chubby peanut. I was a little chunkster.
I didn't say that. And you were in my wife's kids' church at our church in North Providence, and it was we were looking for some singers at the time.
I remember we were doing like a kids choir.
Yeah.
And you're like, who wants to do it?
Yeah. And then we discovered that Alexis actually can sing, so that was great.
I didn't even know. Like, you were like, you want to do it? And I was like, sure. I guess I was a ham, you would call it.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I was like, oh, okay. So then it unlocked my sisters.
Yeah.
And they could sing
too. But I was actually friends with your mom and dad, and so that was kind of. We were super close. We did a ton of outreaches together and things like that at the church. They were part of the kids ministry. And so there was like that friendship, right? So you never know what's going to happen with an 8-year-old.
Right. I would have never guessed.
I'm so old right now. Like this is like the worst topic ever. I feel like this is not encouraging to me. But no, I'm just kidding. It is encouraging because of the way this turns out. But like you think about like when we were there and then we left, like we never knew how our paths were going to cross again.
Right. How would we get reconnected?
Right. And so it's been crazy to see how one relationship can lead to something so huge, right? Like you never really know what's going to happen.
Right.
And I was looking at scripture and it says this.
It's making me feel old. Christina, stop.
It says this in Proverbs 27:10. It says, never abandon a friend, either yours or your father's.
Oh, I like that.
Right? And I was like, man, if that's not a testament to you, right? Like you'd never abandon, not even your parents' friends, right? With Crystal and I, that you were always like, hey, you know, when your wedding, we came to your wedding, we came, you know what I mean? It was like, you guys are a part. We were part of your life. You know,
you got to meet my husband,
right?
And then it just unraveled.
And so, like, it's so crazy how that happened. But like that verse says it right there. It says, "Never abandon a friend, even a friend of your parents."
Wow, that's powerful.
Right? It's like, man, Proverbs had something there.
Yes.
You know,
and I don't remember hearing that, so I'm like, it's good to hear it.
Right? And so, like, I think you guys have, like, your life is a testimony to that verse of where, man, this is so cool. But, like, how did this happen that we ended up being, like, super close, right? So kind of run through some of the backstory, and then hopefully this is going to encourage you today.
Okay, so, you know, I was friends with his family, with Vinny's family, and Lance wasn't. And so when we got married and you guys came to the wedding, I just kind of explained to Lance, I'm like, okay, so I've known them since I was 8. And I'm like, they helped me, push me into what I'm supposed to do in life, like part of my calling. And so I'm like, we have to get to know. I want you to get to know them. They're my family's friend.
Right.
And I remember you got the girls around that time.
Yeah,
and
we did.
I think we were visiting my family, and you guys were having a Super Bowl party or something like that, something with football. And he's like, I don't feel like going. I don't really know them. I'm like, babe, we got to go. I'm like, I want to go. I haven't seen them in a long time for a few years. I want to meet the girls. Let's go. So I dragged him. I literally dragged him, and he's like, ugh, whatever. And so we came.
That sounds like
Sorry, Lance, but that's how it was.
It's so true.
And so we came. He's like, we're not staying for long. I'm like, babe, like.
That's funny.
They're family, so when we get together, it's gonna be, we're gonna be there for a while. So we came, and you guys, I think you guys talked, right, for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was awkward at first. I don't really remember, but
no, we talked. There was like moments of like
it was like cordial, but we just
didn't
getting
really
to know each other.
Yeah, and then I think we came to visit you guys.
Yes.
In Naples.
Because of that, then we're like, hey, if you ever want to come to Naples.
And you were leading worship at a
night
church.
of worship, yes.
And like so I still have the picture of you leading worship that night. So like I remember going, man, like look at what God has done since she was 8 singing, Rejoice or something. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like Angels We Have Heard on High.
We are the voices of creation, and we sing His name.
Come on. Like, you remember the song.
I do.
So,
that was my first solo ever.
So funny. I'm dying. All right. So I go there and I see you like literally pouring your heart out in worship, and like so like I'm a softie when it comes to the. Lance calls me like a teddy bear, but like I was like in the back, I'm crying. I'm like, oh look at what God's doing! Oh my God, this is so great. She's like a worship leader. This is so awesome, and like it was amazing to see like the transformation of who you were.
And the stuff I got into.
The stuff you went into.
You probably didn't even think I'd like.
Right, and then to see where you were then. And I was like, man, God is good. You know what I mean? So like it's so cool. But and like us being friends now is a lot different than like you being in our kids' church. You know what I mean? And what's crazy is like with my first youth group, I look back at like North Providence and the things that happened there. But there are kids that I still talk to this day from that church that are no longer like I'm not pastor to them, but I'm friend to them. There's a relationship, you know what I mean?
And
yes, there's that. There's mentoring. There's all of that happening, but it's more of like, man, we just the whole crew that was there like clicked, and
right.
you know, it's
I
crazy
remember
to
being
think.
so sad that I didn't get to go to your youth group.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, I think I was just about to go.
You were,
and then
yeah.
you left, and I was like, no, it was the coolest, and I didn't get to partake. But and now look what the Lord has done.
Right. Now you're the one who gets to hang out with me more than anybody.
Right.
But there was another verse that said, "Honor your friends," and I'm trying to find it, but.
But when you said that scripture about not abandoning your father's friends or whatever however it said it, I thought about not burning bridges.
Right.
When things don't go the right way, either with your parents or whoever.
That's good.
Don't
That's
burn
good.
the bridge. You never know.
In verse 6 of that, and I wanted to hit on this too. It says, "Wounds from a sincere friend, from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy."
Woo. Wow.
Right? Like, think about that.
Wow, that's powerful.
Like, wounds from a sincere friend. Because a lot of times when we have friendships with people and we get offended, we have, there's all that stuff that happens, right? And it says here that, hey, those are better
than the kisses.
Than
someone
kisses
that's like being fake, basically.
Right. And you think about, like, there are times where, people will hurt us, people will do things to us, and the church hurt, right? Like I'm tired of church hurt. I really am. I did a whole thing on it last week.
I try not to say it, but
right? Like to me, it's like, man, people are people, right? So hurt people are hurt people.
Right.
It is what it is. A church is full of a bunch of hurt people, or else they wouldn't be there.
Right.
Right.
It's
and
true.
so, like, our church gonna hurt you? No, but people certainly are, right?
Because we're not perfect.
Yeah, and I think when we look at, like, if our friends or somebody there's a wound that happens there, how much more so do we need to get over it?
Right.
Right? Like, you look at, like, we were talking through some scriptural things before. When you look at, like, Mary and Martha, Lazarus, right? Mm-hmm. Lazarus dies, right? Mm-hmm. How much more painful do you think it was that their brother died, knowing that Jesus could have healed him, right? Like, that must have been a serious wound.
And that's why she was like, bro, like, what happened?
Right.
How come you...
But did it end their friendship?
No.
No. Did he come and resurrect the brother? Yes. But that helps,
the
right?
Brother.
Right?
The brother.
Right? And that helps. But even if he didn't, right? Would that have ended like, oh, I'm so church hurt?
Right.
Right? Like, people expect Christians to be so perfect, to be so, like, you have to be this perfect friend, this perfect thing. When we all make mistakes. We all stuff happens and we mess up, right? Thank God for Jesus and grace in our lives, right? Because when we mess up, yeah, sometimes it might hurt somebody, right? But by the grace of God, right? Like, we need to understand that there's forgiveness, right? Mm-hmm. And Pastor talked about, was it Pastor or something? Like, we have to have forgiveness 7 times 70, right?
Yes.
490.
Like God does with us
right.
constantly.
Yeah, and it's like, we need to keep on forgiving people. Right. And I think that's where relationships happen. Like, and relationships grow solid together. I mean, you guys have taken us in. You guys have done amazing things for us. Right? Not that it's been perfect. Right. Right? Have there been moments of awkwardness and like weirdness? Right? Yeah. Of course there. We lived in your house for like 6 months because we couldn't find a place. Was it awkward? Yes. Was it weird?
It wasn't awkward. Not as awkward. I mean,
no, it wasn't like it wasn't awkward. But was it tense at times? Yeah, there were so many things going on. Yeah. Right? And it was like, when are you guys going to get out?
No.
They never said that. I'm just kidding. But, like, in our minds, we're thinking, when are we going to get out? But, like, that's the thing is, like, we put stuff on people that aren't necessarily there half the time.
Right.
Right? And, like, somebody texted me the other day, and they were sharing something with me. And they were like, hey, this is happening. And I was like, I didn't want to text them back. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes when you text something to somebody, it sounds a certain way. In their mind.
Depending on what place
and
they're
I'm like,
reading.
I don't want you to read it this way.
Like thinking you had an attitude.
Yeah. And like, so I'm like, can I just talk to you? Like, it's way easier for me to like, so you can hear my voice. Like, I think I'm old school now. I feel like I'm getting old. Like, I don't want to, they use their voice, right? Which is like, or the voice that they have for you, which is like some jokey voice or something, and it's like, oh, he's saying this, and it's like, no, this is what I was really trying to say. And like, to me, it's like, it's so hard to have those relationships when people put things on you.
Or like a pressure.
Right.
To like perform or reach an expectation on their end that you can't reach.
Even if you don't know the expectation.
Right.
Too.
Sometimes you're like, oh, I knew it. And you're like, I didn't even know. Like,
I didn't even
have that expectation.
Yeah. Like, this is what you wanted coffee once a week? I didn't know that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like we need to know. We got to lay it all out on the table before
It's so funny. Like, I'm literally just learning now, right? Your husband. Like, so we can talk about Lance. He's probably listening right now.
Right. Hey, babe.
Hey. And so, like, I'm just learning now, like, if I don't call your husband in the morning, it ruins the day. It ruins the day. And it's not even from a boss perspective, but from a friendship perspective.
Right.
Right? Yeah, he's my boss,
So check in on each
but he's
other
also my friend. So what I've learned now is if I step in this office, I call him. I'm like, "Hey buddy, what's happening? How's it going?" And he's like, "What do you want?" But
what do you want?
Right, that's we gotta get constructor Lance out of him again. But,
constructor Lance, right?
Yeah, right. Construction Lance.
That's funny.
So, but you get it. That's what he wants. Mm-hmm. It took me 3 months to figure that out, but I figured it out. So now, that expectation, right, was in his mind. Like, Vinny's gonna call me every day.
Right. Well, instead of just saying it. Sometimes as friends, we just gotta say it.
Vinny doesn't call people every day, right? But now I do because I've learned the process, right? Yeah, we've missed him at church. Yeah, we've missed him here in the office, actually.
Yes, and I missed him at home.
I bet that's gonna be. But he came home a couple of times.
He did, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and
a little weekend.
Right. So, but we did celebrate your birthday in the midst of it.
Right. That was fun. That was a blast.
It was good.
And I got to celebrate it with my family.
Come
friends.
on, like so good, right?
So I was gonna say, with the example that you said, I thought about Paul and Barnabas because they were like close friends,
right?
And then they had that disagreement with Mark because Paul's like, nah, he doesn't have the potential, and Barnabas is like, yes, he does. I know he does.
Right.
But Paul's like, he ain't coming on this trip. So remember, they separated ways.
Right.
But then Barnabas ended up being right about Mark.
Right.
He did have the potential, and then they ended up circling back around.
Right.
So friendships do that. When you don't burn the bridge, maybe you separate for a little bit because of a season, but if it's a covenant friendship, it's always going to end.
Right, and you look at, like, in relationship to the church and relationships there, like, that's a great example of, like, Paul wasn't perfect.
Right.
Right?
That is a perfect example.
You know what I mean? Everybody, Paul, he wrote was he perfect?
No, look, he missed it with that.
He missed some things, right? Like, was he a great friend to him? No. But was he a great friend to Timothy? 100%. Yes. You know what I mean? So he saw something there, right? And here's the thing. Sometimes some people aren't your people.
Right.
Right?
Right, and you figure that out.
Mark was Barnabas' person. Like, that was his person.
Yes.
Timothy was Paul's person.
Right.
Right? So you got to think, like, maybe that person isn't for me to be their friend and mentor, right? That's for Barnabas to do it.
Right.
So I think,
That's
even
good.
though we look at, like, maybe Paul missed the mark, maybe he was just trying to push Barnabas into a mentorship with somebody to kind of, you never know what was going on through their brains. They don't, they don't put their exact thoughts down. They just write what God tells them to write. So, I mean, you got to think that there was a lot going on there for them to have to split up and whatever. But they do get back together.
But then he wanted Mark. He was like, wait, you're right. I like when we do ministry together.
Right.
So I want him. Like, that's just funny to me.
It is.
But
some people are just a season. That's good. Yeah. They certainly
are.
A
reason, a season, or a lifetime?
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. Come on, you need that's good. A reason, a season, or a life. That's good. That's good. I think there are some friends that are seasonal friends, right?
Or it's just for something for that season.
Right.
A reason, like God used them to help you get somewhere or to understand something. Or
yeah, but I look at it's crazy how many people are still like. I look at my daughter's wedding recently, right, and how people from every church we ever went to were there.
Came together.
Like every single church, right, that we ever had gone to, starting with North Providence, and even like the smallest church that we helped, right? And like every church was represented.
Wow.
Like it was, to me, like that was a beautiful, I literally sat there going, man, like every piece of the puzzle is represented right here.
Aww.
And it's like all the relationships from each place meant something, right? So like when I'm looking at a friend of ours that was there, I'm like thinking about the two churches that we went to together. And like when I'm looking at another friend, it's like, man, I'm thinking about all those times. It's like, man, that's good.
Yes.
So like it's
cool. And it shows how you guys are with relationships too, because you can tell by someone's life by their relationships.
Right.
Like if, they're burning bridges and always hopping from person to person, but like when someone's willing to come under one roof from different places, that means that you guys stewarded your relationships well.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, is when God sends you relationships, how do you cultivate it? Do you cultivate it? Do you invest time?
Yeah.
Are you willing to be present when you're with them? Or is it just like, something that you discard when you're done, or put up walls when they make a mistake?
Yeah, that's good. And a lot of people do that, right? Like they'll discard you like so quick.
I'm done. You made a mistake. That's it.
Right. Oh my gosh. You said
my
what?
My wall's going up. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, let's walk this out. Like people miss opportunities for growth in relationships.
That could have been probably like.
Yeah. When stuff happens, and not like, man, some people that I'm super close to now are people that I've like really had some stuff with. You know what I mean? Like Brian, for instance. We love Brian. He was on here last week, right?
Yes.
Brian's not the easiest person, like, to get along with. He'll admit it himself. He's very, keeps to himself. And there have been things where it's like, man, I just need you to kind of give me something. You know what I mean? And to see the growth in him over the past 2 years that we've literally been side by side together here, it's been unbelievable.
Yes.
Like where he's coming, and not to put him down in any way. Hi, Kate, you're on here. I'm not putting your husband down.
Hi,
I love him very, very much. And so what I'm saying is like some people are just hard. And if I had if he had the moment that something I did wrong, right? Because believe me, he came to me to Florida with me and to help with a church that. Basically not failed but closed down, right? And then I moved here. He could have easily been like,
I'm done. I'm gonna go do my
jerk. I can't stand him, right? Like it could have been like a super hard thing, right? So on the other side of that, like he could have been super upset with us, and I'm sure he was. I'm sure there was a season of like, how could you do this, blah blah blah, but never spoke a word of it.
Wow.
Just kind of dealt with whatever happened, and then ended up moving here too. Helped us move here.
Wow.
And then moved here himself, So just to see like a growth in a relationship, like there's one. There's you guys, like your family and the stuff that we've all been through together, right? And like to see that we still talk. We still love each other. Every time I see your mom, she laughs more than anybody I know.
She does.
I swear I could say boo and she'll be laughing, right? It's like
she brings joy.
Yeah, no, she has that spiritual gift 100%.
Yes.
And when you talk about like joy and like man,
yes,
it's so
she's
funny
like the face
and it's
of
contagious.
It is.
It's like
you
that.
You can't stay down when she's around.
It's so funny. So yeah, so there's so many things that we can hit on in this relationship thing, but I think it's cool that we've kind of experienced this.
Yes.
Over the past. Don't say it.
I'm 30 now. I was 8.
22 years.
22 years.
22 years.
That's probably one of the longest relationship friends-wise in my life. Because, like, one of my friends, we've been friends for 11 years, but the longest is the 22 years.
22.
Yes.
Yeah, we did it.
You've seen me grow up.
We have done it. We're the ones.
Yes. The longest relationship.
It did help that you married a guy, like, 20 years older than you, too.
I know, right? So you guys are friends.
Yeah, so we got to be friends.
If it wasn't for that, it'd be a little different.
But he's very much acts way younger than I do.
He does.
He does. So he acts like, way younger. So we'll give him that. Cheers to you again, buddy.
I like it, though. That's how we were able to gel well,
Oh, yeah.
I needed someone that was older but didn't act like a... Anyways.
Like... That's funny. Awesome.
Let's see what the people are saying. Oh, hi, Dean. Dean's on there. Hi, Charlene. Charlene said Christina says it's their ministry gift is your season of walk.
Okay.
And then Charlene, I like that. A reason or a season or a lifetime. I've had each of those.
Yep.
Yes. And it's funny because you'll see some people that leave a place because they were hurt from a situation.
Right.
And, after you get healed and stuff, you may think, maybe I didn't even leave that situation correctly.
Right.
But when you don't bash their name and you don't drag them in the mud and ruin their reputation, you never know if God brings them back, either for restoration.
Right.
Maybe you have something that you'll need to help them in the future. Like, you just never know. That's why I said earlier not to burn bridges, because you just never know what God has in store.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, so through our adoption, like, we were in a church, right? That there was a lot of people going through adoption and stuff like that. So, like, it helped us through the process. But in the meantime, we had left that church for numerous reasons. But, like, we never burned a bridge there, right? Wow. And so what happened was the relationship with the pastor and us was huge at the time, and his family ended up blessing us immensely with our adoption.
Wow!
Right? So it's like, you think of how you could have left a situation.
Like, if you were mad,
like the things I could have said, right? Probably should have said, like, you think about all those things and you're like, well, I just walked away humbly and just kind of like was like, okay, whatever God wants at that time in my life.
Right.
And it's like, I didn't burn the bridge. I didn't do the thing, like, anything crazy. And then you look at where the blessing came from.
Right. And
like,
you didn't cut it off.
Didn't cut it off. And
yes,
like, it was like
that.
How could, like, why is that person given to us after what they did, right? Like, it's like, what, after what they did, how come I'm getting blessed by that? And it was like, well, the relationship is the relationship, right? And so you look at things and it's like, man, that's crazy how things can be like that. And then, as you walk things out with people, you recognize, like, people look at things in certain ways, and when they get hurt, they react.
Right.
Right? And so when you look at, like, the season or, a lifetime, a lot of people, it's because they made an awful reaction to something that happened to them.
Right.
Right? There was such a hurt or whatever, and they react in a way that you can't go back to that place.
And what if it was supposed to be a lifetime, a covenant relationship?
Like, there could have been there's something missing, right?
Yes.
And it's crazy to think of all the things that could have been, right? Right. But because sometimes it's our hard hearts, right? Because of lack of forgiveness or whatever. You look at people and in their lives, and you see a lot of people that have this unforgiveness thing in them, right? And it's like they can't move forward from a situation, right, until they forgive that person. Right. Right? And, like, I'm thinking of a situation in my mind where there's somebody holding on to something, right, that in their minds happened, but it really didn't happen the way they're looking at it. Right. Right? And it's like, no, that's not what happened. And you're holding on to this, and you can't even move forward into the next season of your life.
Because something was made up in your mind that wasn't even.
And it's like, that relationship is so broken.
Yes.
Because of something that you're holding on to that isn't even
what really happened.
Right. Right. And if you would just forgive and move forward, that relationship could be restored.
Because you could finally see what really happened.
Yeah.
And then,
because you think about a lot of people, like, once they forgive the person, relationships get back together. Right. Like, there's restoration, there's healing, there's hope when those things, unforgiveness becomes bitterness. Right. Yeah, that is a deep subject. I was getting deep. Sorry. Let me encourage you today. Forgive people. It helps a lot better.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you do burn a bridge, there's always a chance to be able to pick up the pieces on your end. You have to be the bigger person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, that doesn't mean that it may never be the same before,
but... Right. I mean, I look at other churches that we've left, and there's been some hard things that we've dealt with, and relationships that are tough. But when I look at it, like, I've never left there, like, in a bitter
dragging
state,
their name,
right? Or whatever. It's like always. I mean, I've learned so much from each place that I know God brought me through those things to be where I am today, to be serving the way that I am today.
That's good.
And so there's no, like, lack of forgiveness. There's no bitterness. There's no, does it hurt a little bit? Yes. There's always going to be that, like, man, it was good here, and then like, what happened? But then you're like, but God brought me to someplace better. Like, it's like that the picture of the Jesus with the big teddy bear behind him, where the kid's holding on to the little teddy bear.
I love that.
And you're like, man, he's about to give you something greater, if you would just
Trust
let
in
go
me. Yeah.
of the thing that you're holding on to. And that goes with unforgiveness. That goes with other things that you're holding on to in your life. And it's like, God's got more for you if you just give up that little thing that you're holding on to so
That's
tight.
good.
So that'll preach or something.
Yes, that'll preach.
So. I think so. So
That's good. I think that with the area of friendship is hard because, you know, people do hold on to that hurt because they're like, you don't know how it felt. And it's like, once you feel that, it's hard to,
right. That's good.
I guess, give that other person, or you feel like it's hard to let that other person go. But it's like, no, it's really wreaking havoc to yourself.
Right.
And not even the other person.
It's good.
So.
Yeah, but sometimes there are people that you do need to let go of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's good too.
Like, there are some people that you got to be like, you know what? I
ain't picking those pieces out.
Right,
Unless God's
like, some people do burn bridges.
Yes.
And they do things that are just...
They're unhealthy people.
Right. And it's like, you can't be in that environment.
Or it's going to ruin your
right,
life.
or it's going to bring you down, right? When you think about, like, all the things that... Because a person's either going to build you up or bring you down, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're walking the same path, right? Mm-hmm. So there's those things. But there are some people that, man, they just...
No matter what you do.
Yeah.
Like, I can think of one that we both know that's not...
Right? And it's like, no matter what you do, they're going to bring you down. And it's like, at some point, you just got to, you got to wash your hands of the situation and say, okay, that's not my problem anymore.
Right. I love you from a distance.
I'm gonna give that situation to the Lord. Bless their heart. You know what I mean?
Bless their heart.
And bless their heart. God bless them.
You lived in Florida too long. No, I was gonna
and then see where it goes from there. But there are some people you just gotta, some relationships are not meant for you. You know. And I think that when you look at that Paul and Barnabas and Mark thing, that relationship wasn't meant for Paul. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's okay. He let Mark go, but then he recognized, and it wasn't Mark that recognized, right? Mm-hmm. It was Paul. And so you'd think some people are going to recognize the wrongness. So
what about the other relationship with Paul? I think I wrote it down somewhere. Hold on, let me find it. It was Paul, and I can't pronounce this guy's name for the life of me. But it was Paul, Philemon, and then...
Onesimus?
Yes, that dude. So remember, he was his slave, Philemon's slave?
Yeah.
And he stole something?
Right.
So I don't remember if he ran. I think he ran away. And then became friends with Paul. And then Paul became such good friends with him that he found out that Philemon, what he did to him, and he basically not called him, but you know what I mean, whatever they did back then, and said, hey, he's a better person, he's new,
right.
Don't do anything to him now. And then sent him back, even though they were best of friends. He knew it was for a season, and then sent him back.
That's good.
And I was like, huh. Instead of him holding on to it, because he's like, that's my bestie, he sent him back.
But then he sent him back with protection, too,
right?
Right. So he protected him in that, and so, he was still helping his friend in that time.
Yes.
And you look at...
But how he was restored and how God does that with us, he doesn't just cut people, or he doesn't just write us off when we mess up, or we're deep into something like that, like stealing or whatever. I mean, that's severe, but he doesn't write us off.
Right.
He gives us opportunities to be restored, and then some.
Yeah, you were doing some alliteration there, some preaching alliteration. He doesn't write us off, he restores us.
Do I put my black voice on?
Yeah, you can.
He restores us.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that when you're talking like that, for sure. But yeah, and that's the thing is I have a tendency to be a super loyal person.
Loyal to a fault.
Yeah, so that's a lot of people ask, what's your negative thing about you? And I'll be like, I'm loyal to a fault.
Where you're supposed to let go to that person.
Because I have a hard time holding on to something, a relationship, a pastor or somebody. I am very loyal to the people that I'm under, and to my friends. Mm-hmm. Super, super loyal. And what sometimes can be a fault.
Right.
Because some people take advantage of that.
Right.
Right. And so I have to be careful in that. And I've learned now to be careful in that and show people that, loyalty is good, right? But until this happens, and then it's going to be hey, let's have this conversation, right? And when you are in a good relationship with somebody, you can have those conversations,
right? I thought that with one of my friends. We literally did life together,
right?
Everything you could ever imagine. that was supposed to be a covenant relationship. And so I thought that I could bring something up that I saw in the friendship, and the other side blew up. And that was the end of our friendship. It broke my heart because I'm like, I thought we were at that place where we could do this.
Right, but it's also what that person was living in.
Yes.
Right? Were they living a lifestyle that they probably shouldn't be at the time?
Probably not. Right.
You know what I mean? Were they walking out their relationship with God at the time? Or was there stuff going on in their lives?
I thought they were, but maybe.
Right. You never know.
So it depends on the...
You're going to see that with people where, like, you try to bring something to them, but because where they're at in their walk...
They couldn't handle it.
Right? But if you went to them now with it, it'd be like a totally different person because they've grown in their relationship with the Lord. So it has a lot to do with that. Like, a lot of people can't deal with that kind of conflict.
Like confrontation?
Back in the day, you give me a conflict and I'm just I'm out the door, right?
Fight or flight.
Yeah, man, I don't want to have this argument. You know what I mean? Like, so don't need it. And
but
I'll
now
just walk.
you'd be like, okay.
Yeah,
that's
like
hard, but okay.
When I quit my job to go to Bible school, right? Like my boss was going off on me one day, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna leave now. I just packed up my box and went home. And I called she wasn't even my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, but I call her. I'm like, yeah, I just quit my job. I'm gonna go to Bible school now, and that's what brought us.
You were all in.
That's literally what brought us back together.
Wow.
And we were engaged in like 3 months. But anyway,
she's like, okay, I see that.
I see the
Jesus in your life.
She's like, finally, and finally he figured it out. And so. Yeah, so like, but that was like my mentality back then was like, yeah, I don't even need that, you know. But I've grown, so when conflict like that comes, now I'm like, hey, let's kind of walk this out.
So
and figure it
basically,
out.
depends on maturity.
Yeah,
maturity
100%.
of both sides.
Yep, 100%.
Christina says yes. Wait. Learning relationships has been an interesting thing for me with church people. Back in the day, if someone threw shade, we handled things different for real. Let's take this outside real quick, and we'll duke it out.
What are you doing right now?
Not in the
What
church.
was that? What was that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
That's how I handle it,
Catch
too.
me outside. You just went catch me outside, girl. Oh, my gosh.
That's how we handle it. I'll meet you.
Oh, my
I'll
goodness.
drag you right here real quick, and then we'll settle this. Anyways, so in the church, it is
that's
different.
old school, Alexis.
Yes, that was the old nature.
That was Alexis I didn't know. That was
real. You didn't know that side of me.
No, I did not know that, Alexis. Thank you, Jesus, for sparing me.
For real.
Christy's like, I wasn't churched. Yeah. Apparently, neither was she.
I was churched,
no, she was, but
I was angry. And I had a ratchet side. I have another side of one of my families that's really ratchet, but.
That's so funny.
Yes, the best thing I did last year was to not be a part of gossip. I've been blessed by the people in my life today because of that. Girl, you speak life on gossip.
Yeah.
Or you're speak life on gossip. Yes. I did an episode about drama-free zone, so that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, somebody should go watch that, right?
Yes.
The Speak
Shameless
Life
plug. You know?
Yeah. YouTube, Speak Life. Go watch the gossip one.
Yeah, drama-free zone. Unforgiveness becomes bitterness, bro. That's oh, yeah, we saw that. We said that already. Bro, I was not church. I know, I get it. I had no excuse.
You had no excuse. Well, you weren't living in the proper place at the time,
right?
But you've matured.
On a side note, though, one of my family members made me. She's like, "If you don't get out there, I'll beat you up." And I was more afraid of her, so I jumped out there and started throwing one of my fights. Yes.
Wow.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was really afraid of her, so I was like, "Hi, I'm going."
I'm in.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't saved until I was 21, so we can't talk about what happened before then. So.
And you're Italian.
Yeah.
So you probably have mafia vibes.
I have
I'm just kidding.
have a lot of things that happened in my life before 21. So. Yeah.
I could imagine.
Yeah. So, but I still have friends from then. You know, back then that. It's funny. You see those friends from back in the day, and they see how much you're different today. Like I have a good friend of mine, Scott, who, we went to high school together, and just a good dude. He's a security guard for like the Wahlburgers and all that.
Oh, wow.
And just a great guy. And
the Wahlburgers.
And so he texted me about a year ago and was like, "Bro, I'm just to see what you've done with your life and where you're at makes me so happy." And you see like. There were some things in our relationship that went kind of crazy back then because I went and got saved and went to Bible school and left everybody.
Wow. Like cold turkey, you just jumped
everybody, right? And just, went after Jesus pretty hard. And
they're probably like, bro, what happened?
It's literally what happened. You know what I mean? Like, but, the prophet is, not honored in his hometown, right?
Right.
So, like, I was like, I once I realized that verse was true,
They know you for just your past.
Yeah, and like, they always bring it up. So, like, I was the guy, I was literally going, once I got saved, I was going to the bars with my friends, drinking cranberry juice, right? This is a true story, and talking about Jesus in the bar.
Wow.
Like, literally, that was what I was doing, and it was like, my friends were like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you're not going to get toasted with us?
Yeah, you're not going to do this, you're not going to hook up with this person. It's like, nah, man, I'm out. Like, I don't want to do that. And you kind of see,
they cut you off real quick, right?
Oh, yeah, they cut me off real quick, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to, I went to Bible school, and I cut everybody off at that point. And then now, 15, 20 years later, they're like, man, it's so cool to see what you've done and, like, how you love God and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like, you can see relationships come back even after some stuff. So.
And then also how your life is a living testimony to them.
Yeah, and you never know.
Like, wow, look how good they're, doing it, doing the things.
And you never know where, like we started off with, you never know where a relationship is going to go.
Right.
Right? Like, when you start with, like, 8-year-old Alexis to 30-year-old Alexis, you don't know where this is going to go.
30-year-old.
Right? We didn't know where this was going to go.
No.
But now we're sitting here and we're encouraging people, right, to love one another, like to have relationships that last, to like relationships.
You make me cry. Stop it.
Relationships are important, and how you honored a relationship that your parents had, and how now we've become even closer than they have. You know what I mean? And like how you guys have completely changed my whole family's lives for the good, based off of honoring what we did for your family.
Yes.
So it's like, it's pretty crazy, and it's a joy to kind of see how God does things. And so it's cool.
And you guys are a blessing to us.
I don't know. Lance wouldn't say that. But,
yes, he will.
I'm a thorn in his flesh.
Whatever. That's not true.
Maybe not the case, but
it all led down to that because of being obedient. Like, on my end, the Lord told me to move to Florida.
Right.
At 19, because the same thing about the whole, like, I just have come out of, like, thug life. Right. And so I couldn't, that's all they knew me as in Rhode Island was thug. So I was like, thug
straight
Alexis.
out of North Prov.
Yeah. Well, the South Side, Providence. Sorry. But anyways, that's all I was known for. And so I didn't realize it at the time, but I feel like the Lord was like, you got to go. Right. Because that's the only way you're going to heal and move on. And
that's good.
So in that, I was obedient, and our paths.
Yes.
Ended up crossing.
Yep.
So
it's crazy.
I love it. I love our story.
Going back in my brain of all the little things that led us to kind of, it's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, we were in Florida, your parents moved for a minute, then it's just crazy. Crazy. They always move so far away from us, though.
I know. Close, but still far.
Still too far away. It was like, man, it's so crazy.
Christina said I was like 35. So that wasn't too long ago, huh?
Don't say that, because then she's like, I'm not telling you my age.
I still run into my old friends. They can't believe I'm in church. I started with 29 Alexis, and I had no idea we would connect like we did when we went to PA to see Dan, and now we are sisters in Christ. For real, that is when we really connected. Yes. Like, we kind of were cordial, but then when we went on that little trip, we...
Christina's not ashamed of her age. She just threw it out there.
Oh, 45. Okay. Mm-hmm. So 10 years ago.
I'm still older. No, but not by much, though. Not by much. 47. So.
Instead of saying I didn't choose the thug life chose me, because that's not me anymore. I didn't choose the country life. The country life chose me.
Yeah, it did.
It chose us.
Yeah. Yeah, but I always thought I was going to be in mountains.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was this mountains. Yeah. I love mountains. I thought it was going to be like Arizona.
I thought it was North Carolina.
That. Oh.
Yeah, I really did.
So we got the mountains wrong.
We ended up
in the Appalachian.
But when I got here, it was like, this is it, Like, it's weird. Like, I look at, like, my drive when I come, like, from my house to, like, down the hill, and I'm seeing the mountains in the back and the city, and I'm like, this is, I can look at this every day.
I like it. I strongly like it. I'm learning to love today, this is when I'm like, God, why? Why did you move me here? I can't handle the snow. Like,
what's great though is there's not a lot of snow here, so it's like not bad. It's like terrible for like 3 days out of the year.
Yes.
With the snow.
But the cold, man, the back and forth weather, I can't with that.
Like, I could live in a hoodie though. I really could. Like I think
I'd rather swelter.
I'd
rather burn.
Really?
Like just be hot than to be
cold. Nah,
bro.
Dean's 64. He's the oldest one watching today.
Oh, wow,
congratulations.
Dean. You don't even look 64 when I saw you in person.
No, you really don't.
Wow.
No, well, I do have a couple shirts for you being made this week, buddy. So hope to see you again on Sunday. We should have them. I know I have them here.
You're like one of the biggest supporters, and so that'll be nice.
Isn't that great? Yeah, I'm gonna give him a CA shirt and give him a church shirt. So
that's
cool.
exciting.
It's been cool to see him. It's been cool to see. So Dean is a cool guy,
yes.
and let's encourage Dean a little bit today, right?
In that relationship.
Because you think about the relationship that we've kind of had with him online, right? Yes. And then to see him in person. And to know his, I'm getting choked up,
right,
man.
But he supports us more than our own friends sometimes.
I'm crying. Look at this. So, like, to see this guy, right? Ooh, I'm crying. See him in person and know that, we've grown in our relationship with him.
Yes.
He's been through some things, and he's dealing with a lot of stuff to even come into the church building.
Right, he said the last time he was 19 when
19
he came in.
years old.
I was like, what?
Right, and now he's reading the Gospels, and he's coming to church again for the first time. And
I gave him a hug. I was like, Dean,
so 19 to 64, right?
Yes.
That's 45 years of not going to church.
Wow.
Right, and here he is coming to church now, and that
was brave of you to do that.
Because of the relationship that we've had on here.
We created that trust between one another.
Right, because we started watching The Rock. And now he's coming, and woo!
It's powerful.
Praise God. See, you never know what relationships can do. And what's funny is I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, man, you know what's crazy is you have a bunch of people here that love you and never even met you in person.
Yes, seriously.
And so, cool. You made me cry, Dean. You man. All right, so cool. That's it goes to show you never know what relationships are there, and then like when you see somebody in person, it's like, dude, like we've been buddies forever.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, I can go on and on. The reason why we're here in general, why we moved here, was because of relationship with Rodrigo, one of our friends. And he's the one that saw the place that we were at, and he's like, you guys just need a family. And so he connected us to someone, and they connected us here. And so it's just crazy how through one relationship your whole life can change.
Yep.
So.
And Rodrigo's not here yet.
No. Yeah, I know. I'm trying. I'm trying, y'all.
But
yet.
Yeah. Rodrigo's a blessing to the church, a blessing to I think he'll be here this weekend for conference, so that's cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, really cool. All right. I think we're done. I think that was
so
good.
I hope that this encouraged you guys.
I think Dean tied it up in a bow, didn't it?
He did, yes.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
Be encouraged, Dean. We love you. We appreciate you. We're glad you're on watching with us. And, man, we hope this encourages you. You never know where a relationship's going to take you, where it's going to go. Honor each relationship. Honor the relationship not even of yourself, but of your parents, according to Scripture.
Yes.
And this is what happens.
Yes.
Let that be an encouragement to you. Why don't you pray us out?
Okay. Well, Father, thank you for this time that we had to be able to talk about friendships and relationships. I just pray for each and every person that's on here. Maybe they're struggling with friendships and not really knowing what direction to go, but I just pray that through this, that they were encouraged to know that when they trust in you, they can trust that you're going to lead them to the right relationship, the right person that's going to open up and unlock all the things that they could have never even imagined. And I just pray that you would even bring restoration to friendships that once were but are still supposed to be, but because of hurt and unforgiveness and bitterness, it kind of got tossed to the side. But I just pray that you would even start to tug on people's hearts to be the one, to be the peacemaker, and to be the first to restore that relationship, Lord, whatever that looks like, whether it's through a letter, through a conversation, whatever that looks like, Lord, I just pray that you would just put it on their hearts, and that this would be a season of friendships restored, for transformations to take place, for connections to be made, kingdom connections that'll even help pull the call of God on your life out. And that's what I pray on this day. And I just pray that you have a rest great of the day, or rest great rest of the week. In Jesus' name I pray.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. Hey, we'll see y'all next time on Tuesday morning. Well, next Tuesday, same time, same channel. We'll see you back here.
Yes. Love you guys. Are we still on?